like to ask older Catholics and other Christians, do you have any warm memories of traditions and practices and devotions that you experienced when you were younger? How do you feel when you remember those? Have any of those begun to fade? Why do you think they are no longer being promoted or practiced everywhere like they once were? Do you think it's because of an evil conspiracy? Is it because of a secular agenda to destroy the faith? Do you believe that church leaders are responsible for this? Is it the false shepherds, wolves in sheep's clothing, invading the church and trying to kill the faith? Did these evil Christian shepherds tell the faithful, to hell with all these traditions? Henceforth, the only thing we'll do together as church on Sunday is worship stuff. That's it. Is that what they did? Or could it be the fault of Christian parents? Were they the ones who became faithless and dumped the family prayers at meals, ended novenas, refused to observe special Lenten observances? Answer, no. And insisting on this fantasy and ignorance doesn't help anything or anyone. Author Greg Dews once asked a room of 100 adult American Catholic parishioners some of these questions. He asked them about their memories of religious traditions practiced in their homes as children, growing up in the 1930s, 40s, 50s. The room exploded with enthusiastic retellings, laughter, and many happy memories. Nostalgia was king. But then Dews asked, "What will your children remember?" And the room went dead silent. So what killed all these extra devotional practices? Must have been those evil 1960s, right? After all, look at all the terrible things that came out of the 1960s. Too many changes, and change is bad. People lost the unchanging faith, the constant faith going back unchanged since Jesus. From Jesus until 1960, the faith was the same. And then the devil came in and brought in dark smoke and confused everything. Everything turned to mud, right? That's what happened. Bullshit. The church has always been changing, evolving, growing, and being impacted by profound changes in human life, in how human beings live. We Christians today cannot afford to be deluded classicists, mistaking the church as some kind of static, essentially unchanging thing, immune to process by heavenly decree. We, the body of Christ, are a living thing, moving through history and culture as history and culture inescapably move through us and impact us. Christ incarnates, ladies and gentlemen, and that's a messy business. Profound changes in how people lived rocked the 20th century world. No area of human life was spared. Science and technology generated extraordinary and extraordinarily rapid changes to our world, especially in significant developments involving transportation and communications. To imagine that the church would be unaffected by that except on a superficial level is, well, silly. Economically, politically, sexually, socially, the way we do human life, the way we do family, and the way we do religion have all significantly changed. Wake up. But the 20th century upheaval and the changes it brought human life and the church, while tremendous and unique, were not the only time in history where upheaval came to the body of Christ and impacted it. Every time some tremendous upheaval or crisis in society impacts the church throughout history, there are those within the body of Christ who resist and advocate the same old, same old. These people doggedly fight for their security blanket in doing what has always been done because it has always been done. And likewise, they demonize or denigrate the growing numbers of those who fail to be swayed by their nostalgic zeal for the ways of them good old days. Well, my friends, time changes and culture changes. So too the church changes, like all living things must. Why do some traditions and devotional practices fade away? It's not because of the devil or sinful human beings or evil secularist conspiracies. And we can only see this by way of faith, because faith sees what is, not what we want to be, not our addictions. And when we look by faith, we see that things die. The non-essentials die. and that's okay. There was a time in the church when there were no rosaries being prayed. Should we be shocked then that there may very well be another time yet to come when again there are no more rosaries? The rosary cannot be an essential. There was also a time when people in the church didn't stare at consecrated hosts in golden monstrances. Should we then be perplexed or devastated at the suggestion that there probably will be another time when our descendants in the faith no longer do this? Such a devotion cannot be essential. These two practices, the Rosary and Eucharistic devotions, are not practiced by the Eastern lung of the body of Christ. And yet our Eastern sisters and brothers very much believe in the importance of Mary and the real presence of Jesus. That should speak volumes to us, friends. Faith sees what is, not what we desire to see. Faith cuts through the bullshit. Faith helps people see the signs of the times.